Hey guys, what's going on, Flawless family? Hopefully, everyone's having a good evening tonight. This is going to be a fun one. We already got 7 people hanging out. Let's see, it's people on Facebook, it's people on Instagram. Everybody on Facebook, you're going to want to go check us out over on the tube. Everybody loves when we say that when we post on Instagram. They have a weird algorithm battle going between Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So if anyone didn't know, that's a little tip. As we are all still beginners and always learning the evolving algorithm. But you never want to post anything saying YouTube or posting even the little tricks that they do on the reels where they put the little emojis and a little play button. You don't want to put any of that stuff in your reels or pictures because it kind of like shadow bans you. You'll find that your reach gets like really really small all of a sudden, and that's why. But we're gonna have a fun evening tonight. What's going on, Frank? How you doing? Southern Rays Exotics. What's up? What's up? AJ, what's going on? Tell Eli I said what's up. Hopefully, everyone's having a tremendous evening, a flawless evening. Audra will be joining us as well. She's going to be sliding in here sideways. I'll hear her pull up. But it's going to be a pretty interesting interview. Patriotic Exotics, what's going on? So, tonight, we're going to be talking to Crypto Cresties. They've been doing it for quite a bit, and we're going to bring them into the flawless world as they are one of our Patreon members. And we've met them in person, and it just makes things so genuine when you finally have that face-to-face meeting after you meet people or you follow people on social media. It tends to feel like it's an unreal level that they are on. We are fans of a lot of different people as well. So when we finally get to meet people, it's like, man, it's like game changing. Wally, Brian from Alpha to Exotic. Now we vacation together and hang out together and do different things. We got another little announcement that's going to be coming next week about that. Very interesting. It's going to be really, really fun. But that's what's on the agenda tonight. Hopefully the audio is clear for everyone. We did our little sound checks. We're going to try to, perfect our craft at this YouTube thing and keep motoring along. Hopefully, what's everybody doing? Post it in the comments. You guys cleaning geckos, or are you just locked and loaded and watching our YouTube? Frank catches everything. I swear, he's normally first on every single comment. It's on Flawless Exotic Creations. Go follow that channel as well, or Flawless Crested Geckos here. But he's a big advocate of watching every single video and commenting and engaging. Our engagement is really, really cool, guys. So if you're liking and you're here already with our 12 people watching, you're going to want to go ahead and click that like button, hit that notification bell. We have been getting a bunch of messages saying they're not getting notified about our videos, and that's kind of sad. So hit that notification bell so you're notified when we post videos. We've upped the ante a little bit. We've been posting anywhere from 2 to 3 videos, and now we're starting these bi-weekly lives, interviews. It's going to be really cool. We got a lot in store for you guys. Everybody grab their popcorn. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on Crypto Cresties, guys.
Hi.
Hey! So, this is Crypto Cresties, guys. I give you a couple minutes to basically introduce yourself, your brand name, how you come up with it, and how long you've been doing it.
Okay. My name is Ashley, and I am Crypto Cresties. I am located in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So I'm actually relatively new to geckos. I got my first one about a year ago, maybe even a little less than a year ago. Mm-hmm. So I'm relatively new to it. I'm not new to reptiles, but it has been a while since I've had reptiles. So yeah, as far as the name Crypto Cresties goes, I came up with that at the first expo that I was at. So when I got my first gecko, I was walking around the expo and I was like, I could breed these. Like, this could be cool. And started thinking, okay, well, if I do that, then I got to have a business name. And I've I'm a huge advocate of crypto, like cryptocurrency. So I thought, well, I could accept crypto for payments for the geckos, maybe offer a discount if they pay me
Mhm.
Bitcoin, whatever. And then the name hit me and I was like, Crypto Cresties. And I'm like, this has got a perfect little ring to it. That would be great. And then right after that, I thought of my logo, which is right here. It's just a Bitcoin with a crested gecko sitting on top of it. And so I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. So, yeah.
Awesome. Now, a little bit off the beaten path. So, how long have you been kind of dabbling with cryptocurrency?
Since the end of 2016, beginning of 2017.
Okay. Okay. And as far as now, do you see any, again, I said off the beaten path, but do you see any downward turns or has it been pretty steady?
Well, if we get into crypto a little bit, crypto kind of follows a pattern
Mhm.
based on Bitcoin halving cycles. So, yes, we are in what would be considered a bear market right now for crypto.
Right.
But if it continues to follow the path that it's followed since its creation, it will bounce back up. And it's usually a 4-year cycle.
Right. Now, Audra and I actually have a doctor friend. He's actually our doctor that we both go to. He's deep into Bitcoin and other crypto as well. And he's kind of giving us a crash course on it. And I mean, deep, sending payments and some of the stuff. He only take payment and give payments in
Oh,
cryptocurrency.
wow.
Yes. Even down to some international real estate, which I thought was extremely interesting.
Down in South America, maybe?
Yeah, and I think it was Asian
Hmm.
country
Okay.
because he had family from I want to say maybe Taiwan. I may
Okay.
be wrong, but where he sends literally cryptocurrency there, and it's the transfer rate. He explained on how it beats the banks by
Mm.
far as far as the rates that you're charged to send and receive, and time of travel. So if it's on a weekend or Father's Day, like this weekend, Happy Father's Day to everyone this weekend. And even holidays when you send it on, it doesn't hold up the traffic. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, there's basically no middleman. So
Right.
the banks don't like it because it cuts out banks.
Exactly. And he says indirectly they kind of
Yeah.
all their advertising and marketing as far as
Yeah.
for the banks is kind of anti cryptocurrency because it cuts out the middleman.
Yeah, it cuts them out. And once you send, crypto somewhere, it's gone. Like
Right.
there's no getting it back unless that person sends it back to you.
And
So
I'm
it's
sure it's because taxation. You can't kind of really tax it because it does not follow the imprint that we have here in the US market where everything's kind of tied to your social security number.
yeah.
So it's anonymous, but it's not really anonymous because you own it's really interesting. And
Yeah.
it's definitely a rabbit hole we're kind of touching on since we're always kind of putting a little here, we do a little real estate, we do this, and
Yeah.
kind of not going the traditional path of life. And it's created a lot of freedom as far as for us, which has been very interesting. So to get back on topic, tell us just a little bit more of what drew you in as far as about the interest into crested geckos.
Um, well, I guess it still goes back to the first expo I went to, which was Reptilian Nation in Atlanta. You guys were there, or you were there, and I think
Yes,
your kids. Yeah.
boys, yeah, both of the boys. Audra's
Yeah.
always sick.
Yeah, Audrey wasn't there. But yeah, I saw you. I didn't meet you there, but I met your kids there.
Mhm.
And yeah, just that first expo, because that's when I discovered crested geckos. I hadn't had a reptile since I was in college, and
Mhm.
that was like 20 years ago. So I was totally out of the reptile scene, and I had never seen crested geckos.
Really?
So when I saw them there, I was like, what is this? This is different.
Yes.
And honestly, what attracted me to them was just their overall look. Like, I like their triangle heads, I like the spikes. They kind of remind me of little baby dragons.
Yeah.
So that was what attracted me to them to begin with. It's just their overall look. And then I learned about the morphs, but not while I was at the expo. I was a little overran with
Oh
like
yeah.
it was too much because I was talking to
interesting.
some vendors and I was like, well, so how many morphs are there? And they're like, oh, there's so many. And I'm like, well, how can I choose if I don't know what all my choices are?
Right.
So yeah, but
And that's the overwhelming part of it. But I think it's like that in general with any new, I guess, animal to a person or reptile that they're getting into. It's very overwhelming. And then at a show as well for the first time, it's going to feel that way. And it's kind of like we're advocates of, you know, always going to shows and supporting, you know, the vendors, supporting the breeders. But, you know, generally speaking, and Reptilian Nation, they do a phenomenal job at pretty much, you know, trying to be welcoming with different types of breeders and not just, you know, ball pythons, because we've said that several times. We love ball pythons, but typically speaking, every show you go to is going to be a snake show, whether a ball python or boas. And here she is now. Ball pythons or boas, but everyone knows that when you look at it, oh, that's a snake. Oh, what kinds of snake? Is it a boa? Is it a python? You know, but it's a snake show. So Reptilian Nation does a good job by limiting the amount of snake breeders to a certain limit to be able to get other vendors in with isopods, you know, plants, anything that you're going to need throughout that weekend or even to be attending the show, period. So that was a really good show too for you to come and pop up in the Reptilian Nation show.
Yeah, I was listening as I was trying to come in. I was sliding it in sideways. Hey, Frank.
Yeah, I was doing all our shout outs. But so it's weird because normally we have Blackburn Exotics, are really, really close family friends of ours and are really, really cool. But they're heavy into crested geckos, but mostly leopard geckos. And it's interesting because with the leopard geckos, they're either, with gecko people, period, normally they're either going to be leopard gecko fans or crested gecko fans. Either you're going to love the crested gecko head shape, like you say, or you're going to hate it. So it's very interesting, you know, because leopard geckos, they're awesome, but they have an alien look to them. It's like, oh,
yeah,
they always look like they're smiling. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to, you know, see both and be pretty much involved with both. Where do you see yourself? What level, as far as in the crested gecko game, whether it's just hobbyists, you know, and enjoy creating some cool animals, a boutique style, higher end, very specialized with what you're working with, or just kind of just hanging out, having fun with it?
All the above, I guess. I'm definitely treating it like a business. I do have the intent to make a profit with it, but I don't want to get so big that it's not fun anymore. So I want to keep it fun. I want to keep it at a manageable number. I don't know what that number is. I haven't hit that limit yet.
There's no such thing. I tell you, we say the same thing.
There is.
You know,
you know, my mom's so funny. She doesn't understand the geckos, and she's just like, she's supportive, but she's like, you bought another one? Like, how many do you have now? And I'm like, don't worry about it, Mom. But yeah, I would rather keep it probably more boutique style is what I would describe it as. I definitely want quality. And I know you can have quality and quantity, but I want to keep my quantity smaller.
Right. So. Now you mentioned Mom. Want to know, so did you grow up with reptiles? Was that something that was a part of your childhood?
It was, yeah. So I was a little girl that was running out in the woods catching lizards and turtles and bringing them home and keeping them as pets. Oh, wow. And in addition to the ones that I would catch outside, my mom also got me a Jackson's chameleon once, I think for my birthday or something. I've had an iguana when I was a kid. I had 2 garter snakes and a rat snake that some friends had caught outside, and they knew I wanted a snake. My mom, I asked her if I could have a snake. She hates snakes, absolutely. And so she always said no. But if anyone caught one and brought it over, and I'm like, please keep it, she let me do it for some reason. So
That was negative for my family. And for Abel, for the longest time, he asked for a snake when he was little. One of our children, and I kept telling him, absolutely not, no. And then, of course, now we have way over 100.
Yep.
So, do you have any siblings? Any brothers, sisters?
I do. I have a younger brother.
Okay.
They're all in South Carolina. That's where I grew up. So,
wow.
What part?
Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I actually went to college in Spartanburg, so not too far.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool. Where'd you go?
Wofford.
Oh, Wofford. Okay.
Oh,
That's cool. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I have a few friends that went to Wofford, actually.
Yeah. It was a good school. Small school. Well, it might not be small anymore, but it was when I was there. So
I left out from here. Well, I'm from North Carolina originally, but I went to school at Clemson, so.
Oh yeah, yep. I had some friends that.
So when it comes to like research, I tend to kind of go down the rabbit hole and just keep digging and search around.
He digs so far. He I don't know. He would be the one to research how does a snake pick its nose when it doesn't. I'm
just trying
to
find
anything on Google.
Oh yeah, Google, YouTube. So, how much of your time outside of cleaning, working, and regular life are you spending like on YouTube, listening, or watching vlogs, or just doing simple research on genetics or anything new dealing with crested geckos?
All the time. When I got my first gecko, I knew nothing about them. And so my brain was like a sponge. And I kid you not, I think I was like constantly, like every waking hour that I had free, I was watching something on YouTube about them because I was trying to quickly like learn as much as I could, you know. And unfortunately, I got on some Facebook groups first before YouTube.
Yeah.
And quickly learned that that wasn't the way to go. There was way too much conflicting information. People were kind of nasty to each other.
Yes.
And so I remembered you guys from the Reptilian Nation. So I'm like, they look like they know what they're doing. So I looked you guys up on YouTube and I watched a ton of your videos about how to mix the food, like all the extra stuff that you put into it, how often you feed, what to put the humidity at, what kind of enclosure to have. Like I learned a lot of that from y'all's videos, but then that also put me down the rabbit hole of other breeders. So in addition to you guys, I watched a lot of Bobby's Reptiles, Altitude Exotics, really Brian's videos. And I knew that he had been in the game for a really long time. So I was like, yeah, I'm sure he knows what he's doing. And then there's another one, So Stick Reptiles.
Yep.
Yeah, we like them.
Dakota. I don't know if it's Dakota's Reptiles, but Dakota, I've watched some of his YouTube videos. Right. So I went down a whole rabbit hole of like all these YouTube videos and learned so much. That's how I learned mostly about the different morphs and how they interact, what's recessive, what's not recessive. So yeah, I'm constantly learning. But in addition to that, the Gecko Pod is another really good YouTube channel to watch because they interview other breeders that have been in the game for a while and some new ones. But I've learned so many tips and stuff and what to avoid, what to do, what not to do. And it's nice because I can kind of figure out what works for me. So I'll take a little bit from each breeder and I'm like, okay, like you guys, for example, switching from paper towels to craft paper for substrate. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. So I'll never go back to paper towels.
Yeah. Me either.
No, absolutely not either.
It saves so much, and you think, oh, it's not that bad. One collection it does because you're already cleaning for the most part with a lot of sort of paper towel products, and to actually buying your enclosures and keeping those clean and constantly swapping it out. You burn through a lot of them, so you're really buying cases after cases after cases. So it's definitely something that we
it's cost
enjoy.
effective. It's also the cleanliness factor versus the paper towel versus the craft it just is amazing.
Right.
Like there's none of that water being turned over and it soaks into the paper towel or anything like that. You've got unwanted humidity or anything. Like it as far as cleanliness and healthiness of the inside of the enclosure, it just seems to be the most positive thing that I've seen.
And it's been a heck of a journey to get to that point. And we tell everyone all the time, like, in our videos, like, hey, this is just a suggestion. This is just our experience. Because we never want to sound pushy. You know, we never want to push information out on people. But we've tried a lot of things. And sometimes things aren't for certain people. And for example, like bioactive works. It really does. The thing for us is it works awesome. But when you're doing it at this level, you say, oh, well, maybe you have too many animals. No, we're down there all the time. But what's the point in doing something where we can kind of come up with a different way instead of doing it that way for us, where, okay, you go in there and you find out that you got a baby gecko jumping around a female's enclosure because there, right? It's just, for us, that's not going to be the way to go. And like you said, we're advocates of it, because it is nice. It is nice to have, but you can lose.
I mean, and like again, we've had them, we've enjoyed them, we created them.
And we still have some for our males.
We do. We have some that are like semi-bioactive, I guess you would say. Now for our males, it's just so much easier for us with our females and how our system works. I think a lot of times it's not so much how many animals you have, but it's how your system works best for you, like with the two of us in there at the same time and all that kind of thing. So.
And now with employees that we're telling them, hey, do this, and then being able to kind of keep eyes on that.
I don't want my employees to dig through my substrate. Nothing.
Yeah, you want to keep it simple.
So now that you're breeding, how many breeding pairs do you have?
So not a lot at the moment, because I started out with mostly young ones because it's more cost effective. So I grew my numbers quickly, but mostly babies and juveniles. So I do have one breeding pair that I have together. I'm looking over at them right now. They're in that enclosure over there. The adults are over there. These are the juveniles behind me. But they had a late pairing. And they've been talking to each other over there. So I keep hearing a little so they're the only pairing that I have right now this season. So the grow outs that I have, though, I do plan to sell some of them, because what I did is I bought like a bunch from like a few different breeders to like grow out and figure out which ones I wanted to keep. And then I plan to sell the others. So hopefully by the fall, I'll have some of those for sale.
Now, being in front of things now, because you're not at that point. So as far as on the marketing, your branding is awesome.
Thank you.
So
yeah, it really is.
What avenue do you see yourself trying or attempting? Are you going to just try to kind of stick to Facebook and Instagram for kind of your marketing? Are you going to go to Morph Market route? What are some of the avenues you're willing to try?
I'm willing to do Morph Market because I know that's a very popular one, and I feel like I'll get more eyes that way. But yeah, definitely Instagram. I'm kind of surprised how quickly my Instagram has grown. I mean, I'm not like a massive amount of followers, but I'm happy with what I have, at least this far in the game. So I would definitely market on my Instagram, and my Instagram's connected to my Facebook. So whatever I put on Instagram automatically goes to my Facebook.
Right.
And then at some point in the future, I plan to actually have folders on Facebook of my breeders, because that's a much easier way to show people these are my breeding pairs. I can do it on Instagram as well too, but with Facebook, you can do like a search for names, and then they'll pop up like, oh, this is that male or female or whatever. So I really like that feature. But I also plan on having a website. I used to do website design back in the day, so I'll be able to make my own website. And actually, if you go to cresties.com, it'll take you to like this landing page, which has my Instagram, my Facebook, and then it will have my website on there. And then if I end up going Morph Market, I'll have a link to Morph Market on there as well. But I like having that landing page because it's easier for everybody.
So it sounds crazy because it almost sounds like, we're talking to ourselves, because that's almost verbatim, you know, like a business plan. The structure on it is amazing. There's not much critiquing we can even offer to that. Um, Everyone in the viewing watchers, it's interesting. We love Morph Market, you know, but we do not use it in a conventional way. Um, when we're very big on having your own website.
Which you probably are aware.
Right.
We've said that
Because you can
times.
always, you know, add and take things down. You can 5 geckos, you can post 100 geckos, whatever it may be.
And you can do a mailing list too, which is something I like to do as well.
And what we're way behind on, which is our breeding page.
We are, it's coming.
We're working on it. We got a lot of breeders, so we're trying to get together a breeder tab where you can just go to that page and you see year to year all our breeders. But
that'll be you guys have it. I know that's probably a huge task because I know you guys have a lot of breeders.
It's a huge task.
Oh yeah.
And I do the website now because initially he did it with a WordPress, and I'm like, look, that's all well and good, but it needs some work. Number one, but number two, I can't do WordPress. Like that is not a me thing. So I went over and I researched like user friendly, like easy to do things, and Wix popped up. And so I use Wix, and now I do all of our website design and stuff, and it's still like, I mean, it takes a little bit when you're trying to add a whole new page to that established website and then put all these pictures and compile all this and upload this. So,
it takes time. Well, it's time for you to take all the pictures to get the geckos ready for the
pictures. Oh my gosh, pictures. Yes. And that's the other key thing about it. But as far as increasing your reach and your audience, that's what we utilize, you know, Morph Market for. Because Twitter did like, oh wait, you know what? It's just going to be a marketing fee. Yes, theoretically speaking, you have things that are available, you have things that are for sale, per se. But let's say you have 20 geckos, you may want to go up there, start your account, pay whatever the minimum it is, and even if it's $100 for the year. I mean, that's very low cost, you know, to market your items. Think about it, and then the pool that you're putting your things in front of is all buyers or potential buyers that for your product. So therefore, and that's what we really grew from. We put things up there, whether it's a button, not even everything.
That's where you can establish your, you know, your customer service skills. That's where you can establish like good feedback from customers and reviews and things that create sort of a credibility report of sorts.
And then, you know,
I rely on Morph Market. Like when, because after buying my very first one at Reptilian Nation, I went to Morph Market. I'm like, well, I want to get more. I want to see and I learned about the morphs through Morph Market as well. So, but that's where I got my Super Dalmatians. Like I got a Super Dalmatian. I call them a pair. They're not old enough to be paired yet, but when they are, they're going to be a pair. So, like Morph Market was a fantastic resource. And I did look at people's reviews. I'm like, if you don't know, you don't want to just send your money to someone and like, well, what if they don't give me the gecko? You know?
Oh man, getting started, we had to go through that a lot.
We were, it makes you nervous, and I mean that's like, I don't know. Yes, I think that, you know, having good feedback and having those reviews on Morph Market definitely helps you have a little bit more confidence in like buying from said breeder and also selling to buyers. I know comments, somebody said, you know, Morph Market shoppers are the worst. Some of them really are, but at the same time, like, it's kind of like you get to have so much everywhere. We had a situation fairly recently where it was like somebody was asking for videos and stuff like that, and I'm just like, check like our policies are this is how we make the standard of what we do. You know, we don't do a whole lot of like videos because we put so much effort into our photo shoots to show the true quality of the gecko.
Plus we like water stamping our
watermarking our things because you have so much fraud out there, people stealing videos and set patterns of their own and stuff.
I started watermarking too, like on my Instagram. All of my my newer pictures are watermarked.
And starting a log system because people say, hey, I got this gecko, they said it was from you guys, and it may be. Did you get the ID number? give us that. We'll tell you the parents, we'll tell you all the information. So that's why we started that. But as far as Morph Market, to help build a following
It does.
and an audience,
Yeah.
you know, because everyone starts, they'll go over there and then they'll follow you on your social media. We have our YouTube up there, and they weren't looking for you per se, but when they came across you and never knew that you existed, and now you have someone that's kind of watching closely what you're doing.
Morph Market will also help you set the tone. Like we get a lot of questions about, well, what would you price this gecko at? And that's a hard question to answer. So a lot of times I'll push people towards Morph Market. Go look at Morph Market and see what the bell is. You know, you're going to have people way over here and the cheaper side of things, and you're going to go up. The bell's going to be right up here where most people are, and then you're going to have people that are super expensive on one side of things, depending on, you know, recesses and stuff.
And it's still really a simple business. And I say that in all the videos. It's a simple business of supply and demand. And if you increase your reach, wherever your reach level is at, there's people out there that don't have a brand name, don't have anything. I promise you, if they post availability listing of a ready to breed 100% het female with no business page, no nothing, it's going to be hard pressed for someone to spend, you know, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 with them versus,
you don't know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, well, are they really, is that even real? Like, is it even an exanthic? Like, you know?
Exactly.
Yes.
So, and that's what's so good watching you, you know, and what you're doing. Like you said, you're about to go in with your first breeding pair, and you're already posting like crazy. You're getting things buzzing, you know, about crypto Cresties, and, you know, boom, you have something available. And, hey, I'm going to keep those. But when the moment you have something that you release, you have an audience to put it in front of.
So, to kind of going towards that audience thought process, have you, obviously you said this is your first time, you know, your first season breeding. So obviously you haven't vended a show as a crested gecko breeder, but do you plan on wanting to vend shows in the future? And if so, which ones? Yeah.
I'm not ready yet, but I want to have enough. I don't want to have like just 5, you know, to sell something. So I don't have to have like a ton, but I would like to have a reasonable number to offer and a reasonable variety as well. Because I know like a lot of the shows, like the people that come there aren't necessarily looking for exanthics per se. It does depend on the show, obviously, but I feel like the shows like Repticon, Reptilian Nation, like you're probably not going to have that many buyers for like exanthics. So I want to have offerings for like maybe, you know, my super Dalmatians. I've also got some Harlequins, some tricolors. I know tricolors are really popular, especially with people that have never had a crested gecko. They see that and they're like, "Ooh, that's cool." So yeah,
it's all about increasing the buzz. People ask us all the time when we go, you know, to show, did you bring any exanthics? And they don't quite get it. We love doing shows to get out there and meet and greet people and conversate and hang out and even go to dinner at times. The thing about it though is we created the business and we were pushing online for 3 years prior to ever going to a show. So you created that buzz, you created that audience, you created that demand before you even boosted your supply. So when we get to the shows, we may have a buyer at a show if we bring an exantic there. But the thing about it is, the exantic sell before we can get to a show.
I know.
Before we can leave our home, the exantic will sell.
We were just talking on Patreon, you know, when we had that recent release with the Patreon only release with the pos hets or whatever.
Yeah, and they were gone before I could get one.
Talk about it. So like,
I got a little late to the video, so
sorry. We got more coming out. So for everyone, really, really brief. It won't be the whole 2-minute, you know, view, but everyone that's viewing and watching, whether on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, you're gonna want to go at least check out our Patreon. It's really, really fun. It's very interactive. We got Discord where all the breeders, all our Patreon members interact, share pictures and video and conversate. But you got some huge savings over there. It's free shipping year round. First dibs. We just had a release after the big summer sale and listed a whole bunch of probable female pos hets at low prices, and every one of them sold in like an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
you guys are gonna want to go check that stuff out.
Yeah. It never, like he's talking about, they just don't ever make it to the
Right.
shows. We just don't.
Mhm.
We don't release enough to do that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Now, the supply and demand is still, low supply, high demand right now. I know that'll change over time, but as of right now, it's still, pretty hot.
So along with your Dalmatian pair, what other morphs are you working with?
Yeah.
And what's your next morph to get into?
I see it popping off in the comments about Halloween. So, what do you like?
I don't even see the comments. So after I got my first one, I wanted all the morphs. I don't have all the morphs, but I did want all of them. I love like the variety. I love all the different ones. The Super Dalmatians were the first that really, really caught my eye though. Like lots of spots. I love like lots of spots and like big ones, not the little spots, but the big ones. So I guess oil spots, ink spots. And then I do have a tricolor pair that's not old enough, but a pair. And I also have some quad stripes, and then soft scale and super soft. That is something I really want to grow into my collection more. I didn't learn about the soft scale until I was about 6 months in. So I had already bought like a bunch of phantoms. I had baby red phantoms, and some of them are turning out to be dark phantoms now, which is really interesting. And then I also got a bunch of babies that they're harlequins, but they have the C2 gene in them. So it was a C2 dam from Altitude Exotics, and a harlequin, like a dark harlequin from Tara Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Sure.
Obviously not my creation. I got them from Leaside Lizards. I'm not sure where he's out of, but off of Morph Market. And he was unloading a bunch of babies. So I bought like 16 babies from him because he was trying to get out of cryptids. So I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity to do like a wholesale deal. And that was my first like number-wise big purchase. So I got all those. They're developing really nice. They're all getting up like 15, 16 grams now. I got them when they were like 3 grams.
Who did you say you purchased it from?
Leaside Lizards.
I haven't heard of them
Mm.
I'm not sure how popular he is, but I know that he was trying to get out of the crested, so I don't know that he's even breeding them anymore. I think he's out west somewhere. I apologize to him. I don't remember exactly where he's from. But yeah, so I bought a bunch from him. And then I also have a possible cappuccino that I plan to breed with my Lily White to hopefully prove out to be a cap. And I like the fraps. I'm not a huge fan of caps, just caps, but I love the fraps. And so I'm hoping I can create some of those in the future from that pairing. And then lastly, but not least, Xanthics. I just recently got into the Xanthic game. So I was determined at that first show I learned about Xanthics that I was going to have one day. So now I have some head Xanthics. I got 100% head Xanthic male from Houston Gecko. They came from Korea though, so from Namhong.
Yes.
He's been a buyer with us for a very long time.
They may have actually come from us and Brian.
What's that?
They may have actually come from us and Brian.
Oh, that's so funny.
Sold them a
Maybe
lot.
so.
Yeah, we really like. I love Namhong and Joy. They're such good people.
Yeah. So I didn't speak to him directly. It was through Houston Gecko. So I guess they were the liaison, for the shipping or whatever the import.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't speak English.
He doesn't.
Oh,
Joy
doesn't?
doesn't. No. If you look at our video from Tinley,
we actually had dinner with them.
Not Tinley, this last Tinley, but the Tinley before when we just went in October. We had lunch with them, and they're just such good people. They also came to Las Vegas to the Super Show in Las Vegas when we were there with Ryan.
Bearing gifts.
Bearing gifts, beautiful gifts. They're so awesome.
Wow.
Yes. but they're really, really good people. And he doesn't speak English, but Joy
Joy does.
does. And
Okay.
Jasmine lives in Texas, which is Houston Geckos.
Yes.
He is the connect. Yeah. to the
Yes,
state.
that was a connection. So that gecko, he's about 26 grams.
Oh, nice.
And I need, funny what we need. I need to get a female for him, and I want to get 100% het xanthic female. But I'm willing to also get possible het xanthic females and maybe just try my luck with that, just to keep my costs down a little bit more.
I was about to say, you're gonna want to at least get one, at least get 100%. And if the way we would do it in that situation, because it's very smart right now. And grab one if you can find one that's 100%, and then grab a bunch of just possets, because you're playing a game where at least one of them, at least 1 out of 3 is going to prove out. As long as they're all female, 1 out of 3 is going to prove out, and that'll pay for all of them.
Even with the years that we've been doing xanthics now, because we started out like right before the big boom, and that was such a good decision.
Oh my goodness.
Best decision we could have ever made. But that being said, even us now, we have possets that are breeding that we're trying to, prove out and see what's going on with them, because they have different characteristics too. So like one's a really nice super dowel, and one like some different things, because then you can kind of play with the different morphs within that and do some stacking of genes and things.
Which led us to actually selling one back to Brian.
Yeah, he ended up buying one back from us. I'm like, you do not need one for one, sir.
Super down.
It's like, I got it.
But yeah, so that's I just want to get one that's bigger. I actually have other 100% het xanthics. They're just all small. So I went in with another breeder for like a group of 100% het xanthics, all babies, unsexed. And we're like, we'll go in this together. We'll buy this lot, and then we'll divvy them up and split them up amongst ourselves based on the sex and all that kind of stuff. So, if you have like another breeder, I'm just talking to the general public, another breeder that you can do that with, it really helps. So we got those from Nong Geckos. He's also based in Korea, but he was in Canada as well. I guess he went back and forth. So he shipped them from Canada to me in the US. So the import fee wasn't nearly as bad as it would have been if they came from Korea. But we got 600% het xanthics from him. And out of that bunch, I have 3 lily white het xanthics. I think they're all females, so I'm really excited about them. And then I went ahead and I bit the bullet at Flora and I got a visual xanthic.
Nice. Go, girl.
Ruby Reptiles.
Yeah, they're really good friends, Jordan. Yes,
they're great friends of ours.
Yes,
they were awesome. I actually brought him to show you guys, but he's small. He's about the size of the other ones.
Nice.
The little ones.
Aww. Hey, buddy, you're already posturing up. Look, you're throwing their tails.
Yep.
He's like, I'm ready.
Yep.
Man.
But he is a cutie. And he's so clean. He might have one spot on him, but other than that, he's really clean.
Oh, man.
Nice. Yes, we love Jordan and Gabby.
Yes,
they're awesome people.
yes.
Yeah. So I'm really excited once, he gets bigger to breed him, especially with the lilies.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, that lily xanthic. Oh, man.
I love those.
One of the ones we have growing out. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I cannot wait. So right now, which you guys have seen, you Patreon members, you guys have seen Pandemic. That's the one we actually released a couple days ago. That's the daddy, the sire, all of those possets that we sent out. And Pandemic is our 100% het lily white. But this one that's coming up is at Show and Pores, and it's a lily. I can pretty see it really nice. Yeah, and he's starting to drop his little bulge. And
we haven't even weighed him or anything, but it's probably
20.
Yeah, probably 20 grams or so. And it's interesting because we're gonna work him because he's a hypo phantom
visual xanthic lily white. So we're really excited about that one.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Start working that hard. So now that we're on that and smaller geckos and getting them to size before breeding season, what does your day-to-day gecko care look like?
It does depend on the day. So I feed twice a week, like you guys suggested. That does help the feeding response a lot.
Yeah.
We've tried to tell people.
Yeah, it really does. So I usually feed on Monday and then Thursday, their diet. And then Friday is bug night. So my Fridays are wild. We feed bugs. But I have, as far as feeders go, I do crickets. I don't raise any crickets. I do buy the crickets because I never want to raise crickets. They smell, they're loud, they die. So,
out in our house sometime.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I do have, once again, shout out Robbie's Reptiles for this suggestion, but the red runner roaches. So I have about 4 like medium-sized bins that I'm raising of the red runners. And so I have like different sizes and stuff based on the size of the geckos. And they are super easy to take care of. They don't smell. They're not loud. Every once in a while, you might hear them do some kind of chirping sound. But other than that, like you wouldn't even know they were in here at all. So they're really easy. And as far as cleaning their bins go, I do that once a month and that's it. So super easy on that. And then I also have mealworms and I have super worms to offer some variety just here and there. I find that the baby geckos, like the really small ones, if they're not eating bugs yet, if I put mealworms in like one of those like no escape little dishes, they will just sit there and stare at them. Like they don't know what to do with them, but it takes them a minute. Well, more than like it could take weeks, but I always offer them. And then eventually they're like, oh, I'm going to eat that. And so that's how I kind of get the little ones to eat if they're not eating bugs, is I just keep offering the mealworms because they're not fast. They kind of wiggle enough for them to be like, oh, that's a bug. But yeah, and it won't like run away from them. Other than that, I also feed grasshoppers. I just started doing that.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, there's a couple of other breeders. There aren't very many. There's a few other breeders that I've seen on YouTube that have started offering grasshoppers. It really resonated with me because when I was a kid and I would catch, the little green anoles and stuff outside, like I didn't go to a pet store. We lived out in the woods, like, well, not in the woods, but we lived far from
Right.
So I didn't go, and I didn't have a car, like 9 years old. So I would just go out in the field, like right by our house and catch grasshoppers.
Right.
And that's what I would feed the anoles. So they loved them. So when I started seeing that some other breeders were feeding grasshoppers, I'm like, where can I buy grasshoppers?
Oh,
like,
wow.
that would be great. And so I did get some from Dean Messimer, I think is his name. I don't know. If anybody wants to know, they can message me on Instagram because I do have the information. But I know Dean has some, and then there's Kai Fan. He also sells them, and I think they kind of sort of work together. But I bought from them, and now I'm trying to start my own, I don't know if it's called a colony or a swarm, but my own, group of grasshoppers. So I'm trying to breed them. We'll see how that goes.
So we have a question, actually pretty interesting. First time we've actually had this question, but about Morph Market. They're asking, should they buy from someone with a certain health guarantee? That's hit or miss. We're just going to give our opinion on this. We've been doing it for how long now? It's almost 8. Is it almost 8 years?
Something like that.
And we've had one issue where we shipped the gecko and the gecko arrived and it died. It was down in Texas.
Yes. I think it got stuck. Actually, it got delayed.
It did. It got delayed, and that was before we used the process that we use now for shipping. And we'll run through that. Remind me. Yeah. But that's the only time we've ever had a gecko die, and we replaced that gecko. It's sad to have your animal die. That was very sad and depressing. But that's the only issue we've had. So as far as policies, we do guarantee live arrival. But then you're kind of it's kind of give and take on both sides because you can't. They're animals. They're very small animals, and you don't know what kind of care they're receiving on the receiver side. You know what care you gave them for them to reach 30, 40 grams in your care for the last year or 2 years, and then you ship them, sell them and ship them. So you can't guarantee what they're receiving on that side. It's impossible. But we do guarantee live arrival. So I don't know what the general consensus is. I think we've been seeing the same thing as far as just live arrival. Some people give, 7-day health guarantees, which is basically the same thing. But you have to at least know what kind of care they're receiving.
Yeah, so it's very hard to
Right.
do that, especially, you can kind of meet and greet and talk to people in front of you at shows and stuff, but when you're dealing with the internet, that's been one of the things that a lot of breeders have a hard time doing, is they have a hard time selling on the internet because they can't 100% know for a fact that this person is going to take care of this animal.
Right.
And that nobody across the board can. You kind of have to have just faith in it. You have to have, that thought process. Okay, I'm going to give them every bit of information that I possibly can, and, try to impress upon them the importance of, if they don't know something, hey, contact us, ask us about it, and we can help you. And then sometimes just things happen. Life happens. It happens, but as far as a health guarantee, for me, for my opinion,
It's just live arrival.
I think it's just live arrival. As long as, they have something in their health guarantee about live arrival.
And also look at their, like we talked about earlier, look at their reviews.
Yep.
Look at what kind of feedback they've had with, the general public. And when all else fails, you're viewing, honestly, you don't have to buy something from us to ask us a question. If you receive a gecko from someone and you're having a question, ask us. We'll help anyone with any good. We're trying to be part of the community that brings everyone together no matter what.
And not divide it.
Yep.
It's too divided at this point anyway. So we just want to bring positivity, and that's it. So we are willing to help with whatever we can.
So that leads us into, now with your presentation and what you're doing with Crypto Cresties, your beautiful enclosures behind you, and all the avenues you're going to pretty much grow and increase your reach on your business. Do you plan on doing any YouTube maybe later on?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know when. I say that I'm in the brainstorming procrastination stage right now, but yeah, I definitely plan to have a YouTube, because I know it's important, and I know it's a way that people can get to know me, get to know Crypto Cresties in general, and can see all my animals, how I take care of them, that I offer UVB to all my juveniles and adults, for example, and stuff like that. I think it's important, because I definitely feel like I trust the breeders that have YouTube more, and it's not because they have YouTube, it's just because you kind of get to know them through YouTube.
Absolutely.
So I think that's important.
Well, typically you can kind of see, you peer into a lot of like how they do things. There's a lot more transparency as it pertains to, like, if I go on like an Instagram page and I don't see a whole lot of, like, I just see a gecko constantly. I just see a gecko, unless it's a really nice, like, photo picture lineup. Like, I know there's been a lot of care put into it because I know our process and what our outcome looks like. I'm kind of like, I think about it a minute, because you just never know. So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
So what's some of your social media platform? I know you're on IG, so give everyone your Instagram, your Facebook, every bit of information of communicating with you, email address, everything. What do you have?
Okay. Well, the easiest is just to go to cryptocresties.com, because that has everything. So it has my Instagram, it has my Facebook. It will have my website, and it will have a Morph Market link once I have that set up. I haven't put my email on there. That's a good idea. I should. But anyone can contact me on Instagram. I do respond on Instagram to all the messages. So if you want to know my Instagram, though, it's just crypto_Cresties. And then Facebook is just Crypto Cresties.
And we'll make sure that we put it in the video description as well this go around. Make sure we put Cresties.com so they can pull all our information.
Yeah.
But you will be very surprised at how many people send emails still.
Oh.
A ton of emails.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's been pretty fun. Been pretty cool. You got any questions for us? You want to talk about anything else dealing with your Cresty crew over there?
I don't think so. I mean, I can't think of anything else to say.
Now, one more
Yeah.
add-on. During your joint importation process, other than the fees associated with it, we've had to do it several times as well. How was the ease of use of that whole process? Was it pretty easy for you guys?
From Canada, yes. I don't know what it's like from anywhere else, but from Canada, it was very smooth. I mean, they just shipped to FedEx like I normally get my geckos, and it wasn't a problem at all. Supposedly there was some kind of import tax that I'm supposed to pay, and they did ask. They asked for my my actual address, and I did give it to them, but I'm still waiting on that. Like, I haven't gotten anything in the mail, so I don't know what happened with that.
I don't know. I guess we needed to move because I know one of the times we brought it in, we drove 4.5 hours away.
Gosh.
We spent 12
That was
hours
our
in
very-
Atlanta.
I think that was our very first time actually.
Paid a
importing
god
ourselves.
awful amount of money
Yeah.
and had to get brokers and everything
Yeah.
involved just to. And literally, it's been there all day.
It
We're
cost
trying
us
to
like
sign
$1,000
and get it.
that
Yeah,
day.
it's like $1,000.
Like, it was like
$1,000 in 12 hours of time. But then after that, everything was streamlined.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it wasn't that difficult for me. I just went to the FedEx that I normally go to. Yeah, and it was there. I signed for it, took it. That was it.
She lives in Atlanta, so
I do.
that's where we had to go.
Yeah, but they wouldn't get us. So
But they
they
wouldn't
treated
give
us
us-
like we were bringing in cocaine or something. I'm like, what is going on
They
here?
profiled you.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just, maybe it's because you bought a lot.
Yeah.
I needed to go in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say, speaking of that particular importation, we will be selling one of our 100% heads that me and Ali got together. I don't know when we're selling it, and I don't know if it's going to be a male or a female. We're kind of waiting for them to grow up a little bit before we advertise that. But follow me on Instagram, and I'll definitely post on there when it's available.
And not only that, make sure you message, communicate with us, and we'll help push that as well. Because that's one of our things, telling everyone then we want to be
All
like
of
I
you
said,
Patreon members,
absolutely.
you support us, so we will
We're going to
support you.
support you 1,000%. So we're going to make sure that reach gets out there to everyone that watches and follows us as well.
We're always trying to share our Patreon members things like
Yeah.
Instagram, and I'm always a lot of times Patreon member name is different
Yes.
than what they use on their Instagram.
I'm trying to
and they don't
sure.
put that business name in
Right.
like the information when they sign up for Patreon. So I'm like, whose business is this?
Right.
Like, I'm trying to figure out whose business, whose names correspond with which business.
Exactly.
I get it. I don't
That's
get
why I try to keep mine the same across the board. Just it makes it easier.
it does.
Well, thank you for spending your evening, your late night chat with us. We really enjoyed this time talking to you.
Yes, we
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So just hang out with us just for a little bit in the back, and we'll be right back to you.
Cool.
Hey guys, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this evening's chat. It's been very informative.
Sorry for being late.
She's always late, she
Well,
operates on that hairstylist
No,
time.
I operate on getting things accomplished time. That's what happens.
Her this sassy attitude.
It's
But
the nails.
guys, make sure you let her have it for being late. Make sure you let her have it in the comments. But we really enjoyed bringing
Frank.
this to you.
Here you go, Frank.
No,
Here
Frank.
you go,
Don't
Frank.
support her, Frank. Don't support.
Look,
her.
you know what?
AJ said profound. Absolutely.
You know what? William is to blame for this nail frenzy that I've got going on now. He got me to do it one time. He's like, "Go do your nails."
You
Get
know
your
why,
nails done."
guys? Because her hands were crusty. Like, good man, had the
Crusty,
worst.
musty.
Yeah, and dusty. Yeah,
It's
I'm like, go
dusty.
do something with your nuts. She won't spend no money on herself.
I know.
But we appreciate you guys watching us. We really, really enjoyed our chat tonight. They said love them.
Thank you.
And we're going to be coming back with much, much more. So you guys stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification bell for all our posts. We're going to be trying to push this schedule for every 2 weeks. We're going to be pushing our live out with you guys.
And all these interviews that you see are Patreon members. They are serious about their business. They're serious about doing this, even if it's their hobby.
Right.
They really have that passion. So you see that. You see that they're getting to come on and share their knowledge, share their passion, and that's on a platform. So that's exciting to see them grow and flourish.
Right. And we want to revert the eyes from us that comes in on us and put it right onto them. So hopefully you guys have a flawless Friday night.
That's right.
And we will definitely be back again, and stay tuned and be on the lookout for our very next video to post. But thank you guys, and enjoy your night.
Bye.